Hello and happy February. I'm grandmother Johnette Crowley, and people have been asking why I have that title. And so I've had that title for about 4 years now. But I wrote a little bit about that on our webpage, JohnetteCrowley.com, on the About Johnette. So I talked about how I'm a grandmother in the Native tradition. Okay, so February. This 2024, my guide Mark has called this the year of transcendence. And January was really about a new foundation. February, the theme right now is incoming transformational light. So what's happened now is the waiting time is over. Time for reflection is over. Time to mentally be constructing every possibility is over. What we're moving into is this wave of transformation that some call the Aquarian Age. Some say we're moving into from a period of darkness into a period of greater light. Whatever it is, in this year, this month especially, is about intensity. It's fast-paced. We are really asked to take action, make changes now. We're so supported in making changes. All the planets right now are direct, which means it's like we're being shot out of a cannon. So it's no longer dithering about trying to get all our ducks in a row. It's not going to work anymore. It's really being bold, taking action, and knowing that you're supported. So Mark has often talked about that we're moving, that for decades, the rest of the world's been fixing this old shack in the forest. Meanwhile, those of us on a spiritual path have been creating this new mansion somewhere else in the forest. And we've been creating the mansion, everyone's still in the shack. And this year of transcendence, we're actually moving ourselves and our loved ones and as many humans as we can grab from the shack to the mansion. So that also means we're in a new place. We're in a place that's nonlinear, a new foundation, transformational, and we need to be different. So there's kind of a parting of ways between our old self and how she needed to handle the world and our new self, which is being supported now. So the old self was about protection, being safe. It was about understanding everything in a mental way because we thought that kept us safe. It was also about being in control of our world, or trying to be, right? So the new self, as we move into this mansion, as we benefit from this incoming light, this new self is authentically you. So the question I'd like you to ask yourself a million times a day when you're taking action is this coming from my authentic self, or is this coming from my need to control, my need to understand, my need to protect? So authenticity, deep, transformational authenticity is what's being highlighted now. And hey, and if you're not being that way, the differential between how you are being and that deep authentic self will slap you in the face. So very important now more than ever is to listen to your intuition. That also means to surrender your controlling self, to surrender and allow yourself to be vulnerable. So again, take action, but from your authentic self. And this whole time now reminds me of 11 years ago. I was married, and I'd been married 20 years, and probably for the last 10 years of that marriage, I was not happy. But I wasn't ready to dissolve the marriage until one day, 11 years ago in February, all of a sudden, I heard my inner voice say, in a confrontation with that, I heard my inner voice said, I can't take another 20 years of this. With that, I let go of all my fears and I surrendered to everything that has to happen to dissolve a long-term marriage. So we're kind of there, that we need to listen to our intuition and absolutely act on it, is uncomfortable as it is. So there's this wave of change. And let's look at that analogy. Where I just got back from the Cayman Islands yesterday. We were scuba diving. And what I realized when I'm underwater is that there's whole other universes that don't really have the same rules as we do. They're vastly complex universes. And it takes us a little effort to be in those universes. And so those multi-dimensional, multi-linear universes are opening up to us. But say when you're in the surf, and if you're standing still, the waves come up, they just slap you, slap you, slap you. And really what the surfers have learned is you swim out with the waves, and then when the right wave comes, you get up on it, you surrender your control, and you're in control of the wave. Well, this incoming transformational light is like that wave. So let me look at it. Really, another analogy that I was shown is that this incoming light, it's like the sunlight, and it heats up the earth. So lots of changes on the earth right now, lots of changes in the structures we've become comfortable with. Lots of changes are in store the next many, many months. So as we deal with that, and the earth heats up, what happens is there's thermals that are built. So there's spiraling heat, right? And you can tell because the eagles and the ravens are up riding the thermals effortlessly. And that's what we can do. But it's still cyclical. It's still physical, lifting higher and higher and higher. And that's how we're using this transformational light. But in the center of that thermal, like the center of a tornado or a hurricane, is an eye. In that eye, that's where the multidimensionality is. You don't need to go on cycles because our spiritual quantum self can just ascend through that eye. So part of us is thermaling around, and part of us is really just moving in a quantum way, ascending in this transformational light. And that's what we're feeling. It's important in this upliftment to be neutral. And when you are, there's a magical buoyancy that just supports us. So be aware that, yes, we can ride the thermals, and that's lovely, and we can just ascend through the center with our spiritual self. The other thing about this month is it's the beginning of the Lunar New Year. So on next Saturday, I'm going to have a initiation. It's part of our 3 initiations. They're called initiations of Transcendence these next 6 months. And the first one is next Saturday in conjunction with the energy of the Lunar New Year. The new year is a new moon, and it begins the year of the dragon. That only happens every 12 years. The dragon is the most powerful symbol in the Chinese zodiac. So with the energies of the dragon, there's an authority, a power that is born. But this cycle of the dragon in the Chinese astrology is the wood dragon. And that's an interesting element because wood grows. it's flexible. So I was actually seeing in my inner vision a forest of dragons. So I saw these dragons energies, and they're sinuous, right? And they're moving up from the earth in my vision, connecting earth to heaven. So this is really a time to be growing, flexible, tree-like wood, with the authority and power of the dragon. And you notice a dragon is wave-like, sinuous. A dragon is at home in all the elements: water dragons, air dragons, earth dragons. So that's really what's opening up for us, is all the dimensions. Be awake, be alert, spend time in your meditative self so that you can get the insights, not just from this dimension. So the Year of the Dragon, it's about rebirth, regeneration. Also important this month is looking at your old forms. You'll need to do something developing new forms in your work, in your relationships, in your taking care of your health. So this month is intense, fast-paced, important, because we're really supported in major transformation with this light. So I want to share what happened. I've been channeling Mark for 35 years now. And once in a while in these Mark classes that we hold on Zoom every Monday, a huge breakthrough happens. And it doesn't always happen because it's a full moon. It just happens because the energy sets up. And I want to read to you what Mark channeled on Monday about, the class was called Moving to the Perspective of Oneness. And he said that we, as a collective consciousness, have jumped the gap to universal consciousness. And our cosmic mind, and the cosmic mind, is opening up to us. So maybe close your eyes and listen to what Mark said. And what he said was in a kind of an extraordinary time. He welcomed us by saying, "Welcome, peonies." And of course, peonies are those spring flowers that have the tight bud, and then they just open into the most magnificent flower. So he said, "Dear ones, liberation and enlightenment are similar. Liberation is the gateway to enlightenment. Enlightenment is a removal of the singular perspective to the perspective of all that is. From that shift, all that is begins to change as well. Because you will realize that all that is in static. There is no such thing as all that is, because there is only connection. You all today have gone through a portal. This portal is an important gateway to the beingness of transcendence, rather than the understanding of transcendence. Hope you can feel that. In the past several months, we've given you some understanding and we've given you some shifts. But now the difference is you have become a greater you. The teaching from this class on will be different after 35 years, right? It will not be teaching the old you that holds all the old patterns and all the belief systems. You all have moved. Even if you're not in the Mark class, because you're connected to me in this energy, you're moving too. You all have moved your presence enough outside the old you that we don't have to keep teaching to the old you's perspectives, her prejudices, her needs. And we can begin to teach into the greater field of being. That is universal law, that is universal being, and that is universally creative. Up until now, for 35 years that we've worked with Johnette, we have had to negotiate through your personalities, your egos, your belief systems about what enlightenment is. And we've done it gratefully, because your personalities and egos have been an important part. The need to grow has been your impetus. The seed that must germinate has been your path. Now that the seed germinates, we no longer have to contain our teachings to that which the seed can understand. We can now speak to the peony, to the flower opened in each of you. So you will notice a shift in the energies and the teachings as we move forward. We invite you to also make the same shift and have your processor, your mind, your personality, your belief systems not be the apex of your beingness. Rather, turn your beingness upside down so that the wide end of creation, the wide end of beingness that is inclusive, is what you can learn into. You have opened from this, where we had to teach everything that could get through your brain, to this. You will find that the field of collective consciousness that you can tap into now will be broader, less understandable, because it won't have the pigeonholes that you used to use to understand things. But the spaces you hold and can traverse will be much more transcendent than has ever been open to you before. So you all, we are in a transcendent space. We are moving to a new foundation. So continue to support yourself in every way, and especially giving your new self more space, more credibility, that you don't always have to go through your belief systems and your understanding. So again, to support you in all this, just some announcements. Again, our trilogy, our initiation of Transcendence, is going to be next Saturday, the year of the dragon. So the dragon initiation. I have one space left in our mastery, our call to mastery program that starts in March. I only take 12 people. So if you feel the call, look at JohnetteCrowley.com under the Masters Mentoring Program and see if you are the one to take that last spot. Also, I looked at my calendar. I have personal sessions available this month on Wednesday, February 7th, also Friday, February 16th, and February 27th. So you just go to my personal sessions tab on my website and the calendar pops up. Still letting you know that Hawaii, the last of our Ring of Fire 3 trips around the world, will be in June 14th to the 22nd. I haven't finalized the prices, but they'll be between $3,500 and $4,000, and that's for everything. So I'm working on just always trying to make it as reasonable as possible, and maybe it'll be less, but we'll see. Do join us for the Mark class on perspective. You don't need to have done Mark before, because this is a perspective that is a collective. And as you join, you increase the greater whole, and we can all do more. And lastly, the next consciousness update for March will be March 1st, Friday, March 1st, the day after that magical February 29th leap day. So thank you all. I also want to thank Morgan McKenna of OriginsAstrologer.com, because she always gives me a baseline for what the month holds. But hopefully we'll see you on Saturday for the initiation, and make it a breakthrough month with this incoming transformational light that's here for all of us and here to stay. Thank you.